All right, here we are. Hey, ladies, what's up? Rose Stein here with Rose Stein Coaching. I am the founder of this amazing group with all of you amazing women and a sprinkle of men, the Button the Jeans community, where it's a free community where anyone can come and join us. On Tuesdays, I have power lessons. On Wednesday, we kind of come and go depending on what it is. I don't have anything specifically planned, but yesterday we did a little training. Thursdays, we do some interviews. And Friday, the last few weeks, we've been doing a little coaching, a little live coaching. So this is for you. This is for you if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling frustrated, if you would like to not be feeling stuck and frustrated anymore, if you have a question about your health, whether it's different aspects of health, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, psychological, all these different aspects of who we are as human beings affect the other parts of ourselves. It's kind of like the cogs in a wheel. And if we just focus on one, then the other ones aren't really getting the attention that they need. And our wheel kind of ends up a little bit wobbly and we're like rolling through life, just kind of tripping. So one of the things that is helpful, really helpful, is coaching. I have a coach in various aspects of my life because I need that. I need that outside perspective. It's as if I am going through life, and we all are trying to figure out, like from the inside of a bottle, trying to figure out what the label says. And we're like, wait a minute, it's like backwards and like fuzzy, and I can't really see it. And then someone on the outside, I mean, it's not even that those people necessarily need to have any special skills, although coaching is a skill and you can go to school for it and have experience in it, which I do. But if you have someone on the outside of our little bottle, they can very clearly see what it says. And they're like, oh, hello, it says this, this, and this. These are the directions. This is what's contained inside. And then it becomes easy to take that next step forward. So we need each other. We need each other in many different ways and many different aspects of life. I do have a master's degree in health education, specializing in nutrition. There was coaching courses that we took. I have been doing this professionally since 2008. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, not the fun on stage, quack like a duck kind of hypnotherapy, but the kind of where we use the power of our minds and our intention and this incredible gift that we've been given when we were born, our imagination, our ability to think beyond our present circumstances and create a future of our dreams. And when we are stuck in our little bottle trying to figure stuff out from the inside, it seems like, decades of suffering cannot be solved. And we don't know how to get out of that trap. And we end up in this cycle over and over and over again. And that was my experience. That was exactly what my experience was, and exactly why I went out and I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, I have to get a coach. I have to become a coach. I have to understand about nutrition. I have to figure out a way to change my mind. I have to figure out a way to change my mind. I can't live like this anymore. And that was my experience. And so here I am. So join me. Join me. If you are here and you would like some live coaching, I would love for you to join me. Right up there, you should be able to see there is a link to join me in Zoom, and then there's the password. So if you want to just click on that little link to join me in the Zoom, it will say, hey, cool, join Rose Stein. Please put in your password. The password is 217818, and you'll be able to join me in this little room. I would love to have you. I would love for you to be able to have a voice and to speak your truth and to have a safe place where you can come and ask a question and get an answer, and the answer might not come from me. I'm just saying, right? My philosophy as a coach is that you know what's best for you. You might not know exactly how to get there or what it takes or how to make the changes that you want to make, but you've been you your whole life. Every night that you've gone to bed, you've been there. Every morning that you've woken up, you've been there. You've been there for all of your experiences, all the ups and downs, every time that you have eaten or gone to the bathroom or kissed somebody or made a choice and a decision in your life, you have been there. You are the absolute expert in yourself. And again, just like being inside that that little bottle, right, trying to read the outside label, that's one of the reasons why we have each other as human beings. Right? We can't live just by ourselves. It's not good for any level of wellness. I remember when they did that study. I think it was it World War I or World War II, where there was like a bunch of babies that were left with no parents. And so they just put all the babies in a room, just babies in a room. And the nurses would come in and they would feed them and they would leave. And that was it. There was, there wasn't, there wasn't really value seen in bonding with the babies because it was just your job, come in and out, and they didn't want them bonding with the babies. And so they just left them there. And what happened is that they began to die off. Not every single one of them, right? But like the babies began to not thrive. And what they found was that as soon as people started just picking them up, holding them, giving them some attention, some love, some physical touch, that the babies began to thrive again. There is something very innate about human contact, the care that we give to each other when we listen to each other, when we really hear each other, when we speak from our hearts to each other, right? And of course, like there's that touching part, but we're in COVID right now. So we're going to keep that as a little bit of a side note. I don't know, maybe you're in a state, hopefully that you have someone in your world that you can at least give a high five, a handshake, a hug, right? A hug to, and do that and do it a lot. So we need each other. We need each other to read the labels on the outside of our little bottles. We need each other to bounce ideas off of. We need each other to see things clearly. We need each other to help us step outside of the habitual patterns of thought and activity that we've gotten ourselves into that aren't serving us anymore. I'm sure there's a lot of things that are serving you really well. And then there's some things that are not serving you so well. And it's like, well, how do I make a change? I've been doing this like this for years and years and years. I don't know what it would be like to not have this issue anymore. I remember the first time that it dawned on me just how much time, like literal time in my day, was spent thinking about how uncomfortable I was in my own body, how I wish my clothes fit different or better, or I wish that I had eaten that or not eaten that, or what am I going to do over here? How's it going to be like that? Or what are they going to have over here? Is that person looking at me? I feel so uncomfortable. Just this constant barrage of self that I thought, wow, like, what would I do with all of that time and mental space if that was not an issue anymore? If I just felt comfortable and confident in my body, like, what could I actually do? I'd have so much more energy, so much more energy. And notice I didn't really say anything about, being on a diet or losing weight or any of those kinds of like outside, not a consequence, like in a positive way consequence, right? Like when we eat well, we feel better and our weight goes down. We don't eat so well, we don't feel so good and our weight goes up. Typically that's standard, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that. The way that I feel and the way that I think about my body and about food changes based on me doing a few simple things. And one of those few simple things is making sure that I have somebody to bounce my my thoughts out with, right? So it's not just me spinning around in circles inside of there. So I am here for you. Let me be that person to be that reflection of your greatness. Let me be that person right now that is willing to really listen to what it is that's going on with you. Let me coach you. This is your opportunity to jump into this little Zoom room and share with me and share with us what is going on and allow us to be there for you. Allow us to help you and to support you. You're worth it. You are totally worth it. You are worth my time and my energy and my effort. You are worth your time and your energy and your effort. As scary as it might seem, if you want to just go boop, just a little click, right? Click that link right there. It'll zip you over to the Zoom room that I am in. Plug in the password 217818, and we can get a good talk on. If nothing else, humor me, right? Why not? Jump in the room with me and say hello. I would love to see you. I would love to support you. I would love to hear what's going on for you and see if there's some way that we can help each other, right? That we can help move you a little bit further down that road of health and vitality that you deserve. And we all do. And it's not like I'm sitting at the top of some mountain going, come on, just get to the top and everything will be fine. We're all on the same road, right? We're just at different places on the road, right? And the road always leads to the same thing for all of us. It's right, the culmination of our life. It's just this journey that we're on, and that's it. And we're at different places and we can help and support each other. Hey, I'm over, I'm this far down the road. Like, let me tell you and show you there's a little dip over here. If you kind of move around the side over there, like, you can avoid some of the obstacles that I've noticed along down the path. And so it's just simple, right? It's just simple. It's simple and easy and breezy. So do it. I'm here for you. Free Coaching Friday. I'm not going to be here forever just talking to myself. So if you want to click that little link right there, you can come right into the Zoom room with me. I know. So like what it is that from Zoom, I have linked to Facebook Live. And so that's how I'm live in the group right now. And that's how you can join me in the Zoom room. And then it goes live into the group. And that's how that works. And it is like a perfect little way for us to communicate across the land. Okay, so one last time, unless you guys want to also, if you want to just like leave a little comment, if you want to post a question or a comment, just right there, press the little comment, and you can either ask me a question or, I mean, really, I guess it could be about anything, any of the different aspects of health. Just a little bit more about me is I'm a single mother, and I have been a single mother since really the moment that I found out that I was pregnant. Boy, yeah, me and my son's father had already split up. And then I was, a few weeks later, I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant, darn. So that's that. So it's just been me and him for the entire time. And I'll tell you, he has been a great motivator for me. I think that any of us that have children or grandchildren or even, nieces and nephews, family members that kind of look up to us and depend upon us, right? If you have any kind of dependence in your life at all, it can be tough. It can be a lot. Oh, here we got a Miss Natalia. She is coming in the group. Cool. I always love talking with Miss Natalia.
Hi.
Welcome. So, Natalia, did you have something on your mind? I think that some of these ladies probably recognized your face as coming on and allowing me to interview you a few weeks ago about your story, your story of what it was like being a kid and really having a lot of focus on health and weight and what that meant. And as the years go by, noticing a lot of stuff around food and then coming to realization that you wanted to make a change and joining me on that journey. So welcome. Hi.
Hi. I was watching you and you just kept saying, does anyone want to join me? And I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, the one thing that just keeps coming, well, not keeps coming up like daily, but semi-regularly for me is just you know, that idea of like wasting food or something, like when my kids' plates, you know, and I'm going to throw their food away, and then like wanting to grab, you know, a few things that I'm really, you know, sticking to the program that you offer and the knowledge that you've given us and these power lessons about flour and sugar and experiencing that physically. And so I'm good off of that crap. But you know, if I see extra some kind of protein or this or that, you know, I'm just like, oh, it's just hard for me to toss that. And I mean, most of the time I do really well with that. But you know, when I mindlessly grab something off the plate yesterday, I'm like, oh, that's not what I want to be doing. So that's what kept kind of going through my mind as I was listening to you say, does anyone want to join me? Do you have anything you want to talk about? And I'm like, that's, you know, it's obviously something that I would want to be more mindful of. For me, it's like mindfulness is really important because it's a huge thing, you know, for why I do some of the stuff I do sometimes, you know, just kind of being mindless at first and then going, well, screw it or something. But I thought I'd join you.
Yeah, that's a big one, girl. I think that we can all relate to that so hardcore. And it's so interesting because on one level, it's like, well, so what? Right? Like, what does I don't even know. I'm thinking in a piece of asparagus. I don't know why, but whatever, right? Like, what is a piece of asparagus? Either have it or don't have it. Like, what does that even matter? Right? Like, logically, it's so interesting to have this duality of being a human being where there's the logic and like, let's make sense of it. And then there's like the emotion and the feeling. And, you know, it's really interesting as they study how human beings make decisions and live our lives is that we live it emotionally and then we add logic on top to justify it. Because those two things are actually very separate, but to make sense of ourselves and our lives, we have to right, use logic to justify it. So thank you for bringing this up. I there's a couple different ways in which I have framed my experience in the kitchen on all the different aspects of it, right? The making the food, the licking of the fingers, the tasting stuff, the what I'm making, how I'm making it, how I'm serving it, how much food I'm putting on the kid's plate, my thoughts about whatever food he leaves or doesn't leave, right? Like the whole all of it, all of that is interesting and complex, and it varies from day to day. I will say my that's been my experience as well. I guess I'd be curious to know a little bit more about that, the feeling, the thought and the feeling. Like, where does it land in your body, in your physical body, when you've eaten the meal, everyone's eaten the meal, there's food left on your kid's plate, you're cleaning up, and there is that move towards it.
Oops, I pushed the wrong button.
I was like, she's deep meditating on that right now.
Gosh. I don't know. That's why I was trying to like figure out, like, is it like this like wasteful thing, or because it's not flour and sugar. Sorry, my kids are over there fighting. Yeah, it's hard to take a moment.
I know. She's got 3 boys, you guys. Like, what is it? 2, 4, and 6? Something like that.
Yeah, 2, 5. Well, actually, yeah, we're at the end of the year where there's a 5-year-old and about to be 7-year-old. It's crazy. Um, so yeah, God, that's probably the hardest part because like I feel like that's what I would be doing if on my own if I could figure that part out. Like I know that it was random yesterday. It's been a while since I did, and yesterday it was like I remembered something I had seen someone eat recently, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like that would be something I would eat, and it was something that was on my kids' plate, and I just decided that that was the moment to like throw away before I threw away their plates, like take it off their plate and eat it. And it's like, okay, no. Typically, what I would do, is follow the program, and which is my plan, and like put it on my menu or whatever, like for the next day or something. So it was just so random. I'm like, what am I doing? And I know a lot of times I definitely like kind of steer it to the direction of like a sabotage type of thing, especially for me right now. It's really important that for me right now, it's really important that I get a lot of time under my belt following my plan because with the, big things that have gone down in life, I've, eaten whatever I wanted for like a day or so. And I know we've already pointed that out that I say wanted, but something that I wouldn't normally have these days that I have in the past. And so I'm like, so when I think of the sabotage thing with your, hypnosis session, and that's kind of the direction my head usually goes in.
You kind of actually mentioned something just in the last couple of minutes as you're like thinking about it and talking about it and kind of replaying in your mind and sharing with us kind of, what's going on for you and what it is that you're doing, and that it's outside of what you had planned on doing, and just kind of trying to navigate all of that and figure that all out for yourself. And you did mention something about um, the wasting.
Yeah.
And I can really relate to that there is, and it's such an interesting thing that ties back, like the whole idea of money and value and worth, like on the outside is this reflection of my own self-worth. And when I'm kind of feeling like I am not smart enough or not capable enough, or I haven't done enough, or I've said something wrong, or I've done something wrong, or I'm not good, like all of that kind of like heaviness on my heart, I notice that it plays out in my life, where I start to get really controlling, like about whatever, controlling about my food, and or why are the lights on, and you need to close the door, and don't turn the heater on, and don't waste the food, and you know what I mean. I start getting like real picky and focused on these things that it seems so real. It seems so, and it's not that we don't want to be cautious about that stuff, right? We don't want to be wasteful of energy and things. Of course not. However, and again, it's that balance. It's like, does the cake freaking matter? No, yes, no, I don't know, no, but yes, right? Like it's that weird kind of like in between. And so, I think that's why I asked, like, where does it actually feel in your body when it's like, oh, I don't want to waste that, or oh, I just want to have that, or oh, right? It's like when we go outside of like the simplicity of our plan, it's not a good or bad or right or wrong thing. It's symbolic, right? It's just it's a really beautiful way to kind of like have a reflection of like, oh, hey, like this, there's something going on inside where I'm not getting all of my needs met. Does that sound true for you too?
Exactly why I thought to like reach out when you just kept saying anyone, and I'm sitting there watching because yeah, it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like it was cream cheese. Like I just never really like considered that. And there's someone else that I, see like has that sometimes. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I could have that, and like, yeah. So it's not because of what it was because of what that, yeah, like symbolizes or whatever, because it's not a typical reaction of mine, nor is it one that I want to have. Like I said, my goal, one of my biggest goals right now is just mindfulness. It's really important for me in general in my life with like not just food, but like anything, like whether I go off from what I was intending to do, or if I'm following my, heart or my morality or whatever, like there's moments that are not, nothing's perfect. So I'm not going to be perfect, but having an awareness in my life around the things that go on is like really important to me. And so to me, that's like a mindless act. That's just like a mindless thing to do. And so I'm like, no, it's not really, yeah, it's not what I want to be doing. I don't want it to become, something that becomes habit, or that, it really is, it really is a manifestation of something else. And then that, gets out of control or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to kind of step back and notice something that we are doing or not doing. I guess that can go both ways. And just kind of use the spirit of curiosity to ask ourselves what it's really about. So now that we've kind of like had, a little bit more space to talk about, perhaps what that's about, has anything else come up for you?
Hmm. I'm really feeling like, well, I'm getting in this place where I'm like, ooh, I don't want to be wrong, and like getting all weird. So I'm just gonna say that out loud. But I really kind of feel like it's like this self-restriction that I put on myself because I'm so like determined or afraid or whatever that is to like, go back to that behavior that I was doing in the past, like, because when I was telling you about it, I was saying like, um, I've had such a good stretch and it's been a while, and so I feel like, like I said, the sabotage thing, I kind of feel like it was just as simple as that, like I was kind of putting pressure on myself. Like I made it mean something. I haven't done that since I've been in your program. I haven't made it mean something. Like I've really been able to dive in with your program because it's so like compassionate and loving, and it's not restricting and punishing and stuff. And so like I think that I just started to do that to myself. Like I kind of went back to the like, oh, the only way to really stay on the track that I'm choosing for myself is to like do that. But I didn't realize that I was doing that to myself. Like I didn't realize that I was putting those like self-regulations in like that kind of a like way. That's actually what I want.
No, it's such an intimate thing, what we put into our bodies and why we do it. The relationship that we have with food for a lot of us is so loaded. And I really want to thank you for coming on, live in a group in front of other people and with me and sharing what you just shared and having those beautiful tears. Tears are like, oh, they're such a gift. All of that emotion and what you shared was like a years of judgment, right? That just came back in this like seemingly benign kind of experience, but there it came. And when we just hold on to it ourselves, right? Like if you didn't have me, in your face, come on live, what's going on in there? Like, we doubt the significance of it. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Oh, it's just a little bit of cream cheese. Oh, I don't need to tell anyone. I don't need to share that. And then we have all of this, emotion attached to it and all of this judgment attached to it. And is it about the cream cheese? I mean, no, but yes, but no, and again, it's this whole thing where it's like, how does this even something to deal with? And we don't really honor the emotion that is attached to it, that we've attached to it. That's fine. You attached meaning to it, and that's what you did, and it's totally okay. But how do we then process that? How do we then allow compassion to seep into this? How do we then heal that years of pain and suffering? Well, we can't do it alone in the dark. I can't do it alone in the dark. Right. And it's like boogeymen in the dark, right? It's like as soon as like we notice them, like it's fine. It's the weirdest thing because it's like literally the darkness. I was thinking about that earlier today. Like I am afraid when I'm alone and I'm in the dark. I'm afraid. I've been a single parent my entire life. I've never been afraid since I had my son. Okay, when he was 6 months old, there was nothing he could do if something jumped out of the dark. Do you know what I mean? But just having another human there, or like a puppy. You know what I mean? Like I have my puppy with me. I'm like, oh, I'm cool. Even a phone, like you're talking with somebody on what are they gonna do if something nothing? Call the police, they don't even know where you're at. Whatever, right? But like psychologically, when we don't feel like when we feel like we're alone, it's like being alone in the dark, and it's terrifying. And as soon as we let somebody else like grab our hand or know that they're there or literally be there with us and just speak, and there's somebody that's hearing us on the other side, it's like all of a sudden that boogeyman has no power. He has no power. And so you showing up here today and you sharing that, and then you releasing all of that years of stress in those beautiful tears, like, oh, hallelujahs. Hallelujahs. So how do you feel now? What are your thoughts looking back on this experience?
I definitely feel better and like lighter, and I'm just the opportunity to see this differently, because I didn't realize, I just had no idea. My intention was to take the pressure off, And then I got afraid that it wasn't perfect or something, having the pressure off. And like you said, it's not death. It's not the end of the world. The things that happen are good, you know, like a magnifying glass or something, like it's good to see those things. It doesn't mean that they have to be these heavy things that mean something. But yeah, that really showed me how I've been applying pressure around being perfect, which is like totally not what I was like really wanting to do. So I'm really grateful to like be able to like see it like that, so that I can be a little lighter about things and on myself.
Can I ask you a question about that? Like why? Why would you want to be lighter? Like what benefit does that bring to you or your life if you're lighter on yourself?
Well, I've noticed that I mean, just like in this vein of food or whatever, like when I'm lighter on myself and I go easier on myself and have compassion and understanding like I would for anyone else, it helps me to just like be in the flow of life, whatever is coming and going, and however life goes or however I behave, like it's okay. It's human. It's okay, instead of like this judgment that I then like beat myself up with. I mean, I feel like that's where the sabotage comes in, and especially around food. I am someone who I've learned now like uses food to like beat myself up, physically, like harming myself, making myself not feel well, all of that stuff. So good job. I'll be there in a minute. No, stay right there, please. Stay right there, please. So yeah, it's yeah, so I don't want to be hard on myself, because then it doesn't allow me to just be, and have the flow of life, and for things to just be what they are, or be okay, or just moving on from that instead of having to berate myself with like things.
I love that. I think that, we can so all relate to that. I feel like I could talk to you about this forever. I also imagine that you probably need to roll off into your mom duties. How are you doing with that?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling it's just so much better having that perspective. In so many areas. So yeah, I feel a lot better having that awareness.
Awesome. So as you're kind of like thinking into your future, like today and tomorrow and next week and next month and next year, which is crazy, only a few weeks away. Is there, like you said, that there's this kind of like kindness and compassion and forgiveness that you really want to have so that you can be in the flow of life, right? So is there anything that you can see that would stop you from incorporating that into your before, during, and after meals in the next days and weeks to come?
Can you say that for one more time? Sorry. Mom, there's happening over here.
Hey, boys. He's all.
Get down, please. That's not.
Yeah. So I was just doing like a little what's called future pacing, right? So it's like, okay, so we went into the past and we're like, oh God, this is what happened, right? And then we're like, oh, this is all the emotion. Okay. And then we processed it a little bit. And then we came to like kind of a resolution, right? Where you're like, oh my God, this is why. Like, I want to live my life free. I realized that there's this like old habits of thought, and I do this stuff. I don't want to do this anymore. So you kind of began to cultivate some compassion and some kindness and some forgiveness for yourself. And then so there's this like next stage called future pacing, where it's like, okay, so like if you had that kind of compassion and forgiveness for yourself before, during, and after every meal, today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, like how would that help you live the kind of life that you want to live?
How will having that compassion help me live the life I want to live? Um, well, like I said, it definitely like shines the light, which is nice for me, because then I can like look at things in a different way, you know, like look at what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, how I'm reacting, share that with the support that I have, a support group that I have in your program, thank goodness. And yeah, I mean, I think mainly for that, you know, like being able to like see things clearly. It's not in the dark anymore, you know, like I can just be aware. And so, you know, when I am dealing with their food or my food, and, you know, like be able to just like reflect on and have like an awareness of that before, when it's in the dark is when I react. I really think that. I really believe that. When it's in the dark, I have a reaction like that, where I just shovel in my face or something, you know, it's like, I'd like to look at this. I hope this comes across right. What I wanted from the awareness that I got before around my, you know, those times when life got really big and heavy and I was just like eating whatever, like what I wanted was like an awareness and a compassion and a I wanted that. I wanted to move forward with that in order to, you know, continue to live this lifestyle that I love so much and that works for me. And instead, it turns out now I know that I was doing that like clamped down restrictive thing to it. I mean, or maybe not at first. Maybe not at first, but it really meant something to me that it's been a while. You know, and so it doesn't work for me. The clamp down and the restriction doesn't work for me. So yeah, I'm feeling grateful to have that open perspective and shining that light, just so that I can be paying attention as I'm going throughout the day. When I do want to grab something, it's easier and lighter for me, and to make those decisions when I'm not restricted. Instead, I'm just like, oh, that's right. That's something that, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it feels now. It feels like how I wanted it to be, how I intended it to be. And it just makes those moments easier.
Totally. Yeah, they say that, you know, a problem shared is a problem cut in half, right? And it doesn't have to be an outside problem. But, you know, most of my problems are just right in between my 2 ears, swimming around, going around back and forth. So yeah, that was really wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it seems like, you know, you cut that problem right in half. I love that you said that you feel lighter. You know, that's like the best feeling. That's what we all want, right? Is to like have that a little bit of peace, a little bit of serenity, to feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more okay in this body, in this mind.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else you want to share with anyone else watching?
I think so.
Girl, I just shared my soul.
No, hop into these, man. It's a rare awesomeness to just get to hop in on something like this. So take advantage.
It is. I know. I remember like one of my health coaches was like, just do it. I'm like, oh, okay, just do it. Just jump online. Okay, cool. Maybe someone will join me. It'd be awesome. So yeah, thanks for popping in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing with us. I love you.
Love you. Thank you so much.
Bye.